stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of council. Councilmember Garberson. Here. Councilmember Hulsey.
Present.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Putnam.
He sent an email saying he would be late or not here.
Councilmember Steiger.
Here.
Councilmember Walker.
Move to excuse council members.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Want to have a motion in the agenda, at least a discussion regarding authorizing the mayor to sign acceptance of grants from the Department of Ecology. And I can address that right after the Valentine Avenue, if that works.
Okay. So is council okay if we slip it in between BB? So the DDD? Yeah. I'm sorry, that's a good comment. So ecology grant. Any other changes? All those in favor of the amendment of the agenda as amended? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Audience participation. Mark Brown. Bound.
My name is Mark Bounds, and I live up on the West Hill, 51st Avenue South. And for this auspicious occasion, after living here in Pacific since 1980, 33 years, this will be my first time at this microphone. The reason that I'm here is because, first of all, I'd like to tell you that there has been a limited amount of participation by the City of Pacific in road maintenance up on the West Hill. The fact is, when I moved there, I sort of took over the matter of trying to maintain 51st Avenue South for the amount that I am using it from where I enter the road to where I am able to get off onto the asphalt area. The road in front of my place is simply gravel, or I like to call it dirt with potholes filled by myself. In the beginning, in 1980, I was unable to get any gravel, so I had to furnish my own gravel, but fortunately, about 10 or 15 years ago, someone here in Public Works said, "Oh, we'll deliver some stone for you, some rock." So for about the last 10 years, they do allow me to have a pile of gravel there to work with, and if it weren't for the Public Works providing that, I think I would have abandoned the idea of trying to maintain that road, which now has 8 families using that stretch of road. So you can see that it's not just myself. It's got to a point where, with the development in the area, we have found that the holes are appearing more and more often. And one of the reasons that I'm here today is hopefully that I can draw to your attention that we, up on the West Hill, seem to be separate in many regards, and road maintenance is one of those. After 33 years, I think I'm going to retire, and I would like to hope that someone from the City of Pacific will step in and continue to maintain the road in my absence. As an aside, on Friday, I was called to the city clerk here by a letter which said that I'm in arrears of $715.47 for stormwater. I know we've got stormwater up there, but I didn't know that we had to pay for it. But maybe here down in the valley that you actually have some way to deal with the stormwater. I don't know what it is. Perhaps you have storm drains. and other things. I even stopped and talked to Public Works on Friday, and I asked, well, what does stormwater mean to you here in the valley? And it seems as though it means sweeping the streets to keep the leaves from getting into the storm drains, and also having a machine that will suck the leaves out of the drains if they should become foul. I don't know what I'm going to do with this $715. I'm living on Social Security, and I'm hoping that someone here in this organization called the City Council can help me with this bill in some way. And I don't know what to do about it, and if someone were after the meeting to stop and talk to me about it, I'd really appreciate it, because it's the city clerk who sent me here to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I think we'd like to refer this matter to the Finance Committee. Okay, next item on the agenda, is there any other public comment? I'm sorry, I just was going to ask you. It's okay.
Good evening, Kate Hull, Steve, 102 Alder Lane South. Due to a work commitment, I couldn't come after Make a Difference Day, and so I wanted to come and personally thank you for all the support that we got, all of the Lions who came to help. The Boggy Garden is looking so much better at Terry Home, and so I really just came to say thank you. That's all.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you guys organizing that. That was a great event. The Buggy Garden does look awesome now. Okay. Is there anyone else with a comment tonight? All right. Moving on to the agenda. First of all, we have reports. Report of the mayor. First, I want to comment on the holiday bazaar. November 9th was a pretty good success. And Joanne wanted me to mention that it was probably the most attended by city council ever. So she was pretty enthused with everybody coming in and participating and being a part of the holiday bazaar. It looked like it was pretty full. There was a lot of activity. And I know the soup was really good. I missed out on the biscuits and gravy. The soup was good. The flagpole dedication and monument dedication that took place yesterday, what an awesome event. I really want to thank the community for showing up. I heard there was a head count of about 50 people there. And Boy Scout Troop 540 did a great job of lowering and raising the flag. The American Legion did a really good job for 78. We really appreciate them and all that they had done to participate. City Attorney Tim Moose did a great job emceeing that. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And Council Members Walker, Jones, and Holsey, thank you very much for all that you did participating and Jerry. I'm getting there. And a special thanks to Katie Garber-Jean for making all this happen, and I'm so sorry it took 3 mayors to get it done. 3 mayors in 3 years, but we did it. And I really want to give a nice round of applause to everybody that participated. It was a great event. And hopefully you'll get a chance to go out and take a look at the monument. It is unveiled, and great pictures that you posted on Facebook yesterday. It was fun when I went back to the office. That's what I was doing. Anyway, it was a good event, and I appreciate all the participation. So our next community event will be the tree lighting ceremony on November 29th, which will be the day after Thanksgiving. The lights are on the tree. We have lots. There are 2,000 lights on there, and there are extras. I get overbought. So what they're going to do is they're going to go ahead and use the same lights. We're going to put them up on the State Hall, on the Senior Center, Post Office, and over at the Police and Fire Station. So when the lights come on, they're all going to be the same. So it's turned out pretty nice. They're all LEDs, so they're very low energy here. Cost efficient. Gathering will be at 6, lighting at 6:30. So Partnerships right now is over there ironing out the details. I did ask Troop 540 if they would be willing to lead everybody into the caroling, and they said that they would. The Senior Center is going to be selling cookies and cocoa and coffee as a fundraiser over there to raise some money for the Senior Center. And then the rest of the partnership is gonna work out the rest of the details for the evening. I kind of left a list of all the things that were already taken care of, and they're gonna go from there. So that's what they're having their meeting tonight to discuss. So we should be seeing more about that. I just want to let everybody know there is an opening on the Civil Service Commission, so there are applications out in the hallway, and also a job description or what that is about the civil service position. So if you know anybody that's interested, there is a vacancy, and we'd like to get that filled. And the last thing I just want to announce, I'm sure most everybody that knows me knows that I'm going to be absent from the next two council meetings. I go in next Monday to have a total knee replacement. So I'm counting on council to hold it together, and James McMahon to be here in my place. So if there's any questions or concerns, I've asked Richard to kind of just keep me informed of everything that's going on in the city. Staff knows that he's the point person to reach out to me, and of course we know Mayor, or if there's any need for mayor or whatever, James McMahon is the mayor pro tem or council president. So I'm assuming I should not make any big decisions being on paying bills, so I'm just going to do that. So that's only going to be for a couple of weeks. Anyway, so with that, we'll move on to the finance report.
Good evening. Budget work continues as we're closing in on hopefully the final iteration of the budget. Plans to, well, you'll see tonight in the budget, in the PowerPoint I have what I've added to that, what we looked at last week, and then we plan on having a budget workshop next Monday, and the finance committee meeting after that, so we're getting close, and it's picking up, looking good. The annual report, we're halfway through that. We need to really focus on that once the budget is put to rest, so we can get the auditors here, hopefully later this month or early December at the latest. Bias, I've spoken with Bias. They're closing in on giving me readiness date pretty soon for the financial aspect. We might have reports. I'm hoping to have reports for this year. So that's the goal. So, and I should know more this week about that. And finally, we have a new employee in finance, Heather, and she's plugging in really well, learning really fast, and it's really helping us out to get all these other goals accomplished. So just want to let you guys know that. Thank you.
Next, the court statistics were in your book. I don't know if you have any questions for Kelly. Okay. Public safety.
This time of year, each year, we hold our emergency driving certification, which is, we call it EVOC, Emergency Vehicle Operation Course. And we hold that up at SIR, Seattle Raceway, and it ran Monday through Thursday. We provided an instructor that gets a coalition effort where we certified about 200 officers. Every one of our officers and command staff went through the training, and it consists of high-speed pursuit driving, slow-speed skills course, and the pit maneuver where we pursued intervention technique. So anyway, it was real successful. We didn't wreck a car, but First Island did. Anyway, I don't know if there's any questions on the EVOC. All right, thank you.
All right. Thanks, John. Public works.
Last week, the Public Works Committee met and we discussed the Milwaukee Boulevard. That project is moving along. We're scheduling an open house for next Wednesday evening for the property owners to come in, let them sort of see what the plan and direction of that project is as far as the design goes. We also discussed the West Valley project. We will have an open house for that project sometime in probably January or February. We're still looking at the schedule on that. We discussed the trail issue. The mayor and I had a meeting today with regarding Stewart Road. We met with TIB, who's funding that project, back in July of 2012. They sort of shut the faucet off and said there's some things that need to be addressed before you go any further with their money. So we met with them today to discuss where we're at in the project. They still have some concern, and rightly so. They want to make sure that there's basically three big issues. One is to make sure that we met with the county's on board with their $110,000 for the project. That was number one. Number two, that we finalize the agreements with Gordon Trucking as far as right-of-way acquisition in that portion of the project. And they need to know exactly how we're going to finish pedestrian facilities on the north side of the street now that the trail funding has gone away. So I am working on those issues this week to try and get those at least in perspective so we know how we're going to move forward with that aspect of the project. During the meeting, Gary Richardson had indicated that we had a $300,000 loan from Public Works Trust Fund that was allocated to the city for portions of the Stewart Road project. And I was able to get a hold of someone with Public Works Trust Fund today, and that is in fact the case. Paperwork's all signed, so the loan is in place. So we do have some additional funding there, which helps for some of that shortfall we had discussed before. It is not a grant, it is a loan, so it has to be paid back. It is a 5-year loan at 1%. So it's not quite free money, but it's pretty darn close. The other couple of issues I'll discuss later on when those items come up on the agenda.
All right. Thank you. Randy, sir.
Is this loud enough, or should I go to the mic?
Come on up to the mic so we make sure that it picks up on the recording. Thank you.
I'll bring my visual aid.
Thank you.
Okay, so the holiday,
Gift for Gwen.
so the holiday bazaar was a huge success. The only thing that we really had left over food-wise was, of course, cookies. And I'm telling those are Taco Tuesday, so I'm sorry to say they are leftover cookies. And we had soup. So Monday, stone soup, we're having the leftover soup. That's the way it is. We're selling items at Taco Tuesday to benefit the seniors and the children. We're selling like coffee cups filled with chocolate. These are mason jars filled with beans and spices. We have scarves. We have some in the colors of some professional teams that shall remain nameless. We have assorted colors. Joanne has a bunch of things. She's got some jewelry she's going to sell, that type of thing. We are selling baked goods and hot chocolate and coffee at the tree lighting. I hope to have a really good turnout. I really hope this is really good. It would be great if everybody came out. It would be wonderful. Joanne wanted me to let you know she had to raise her prices for Taco Tuesday. It's now $1.50 a taco since the cost of food has gone up with everything else. And she appreciates everybody's kind support. And that's all I have. You can always come, Taco Tuesday, we've got all the things for sale. After Tuesdays, they're at the Senior Center. Come in and say hi. Buy some of my goods.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, so council members, any reports from council members? Councilmember Jones?
I don't have a report, I have a question. I don't know if it's a good time to bring it up, but it's related to the ESCOs at the park.
Okay.
The fact that we're now a double stack all the way around the fortress, how and to what extent are we going to be able to secure that facility with police activity when you can't even see inside it, you know? And then where's the liability stand, the relationship between the city and the King County? The King County is, of course, the property is there, it's a lease for $1 a year. something could happen behind there, and we never know about it.
A lot of this was discussed, I don't know if Jim, you could address that better, or John, but this was discussed with King County.
We discussed the issue of safety to a certain extent, and it's a tall barricade for someone to climb over. It's signed no trespassing and to stay out. So when someone decides to go over that barrier, they're taking on that responsibility themselves. The thing is, we have to look at the overall benefit to the community of keeping the floodwaters out.
Well, that's not my issue.
Okay.
You know, my issue is, how does the police department of the city keep tabs on what does or doesn't happen on the other side of that barrier when they have no accessibility to visually monitor what goes on? Because now, if I can't see it from the road, who's ever in there can't be seeing it from the road either. Now, yes, they have to climb over the barrier. My concern is anything can happen back there without visibility.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes a liability issue. You know, besides potential life-threatening issues, you know. Because there's other accessibilities into that area, from down farther down.
From further south.
Yeah. So, again, this needs to be somewhat looked at, because it is a concern, and we need to make sure of our liability issues, as well as the protection of anybody that could be taken back there.
Correct. It was my understanding that it's King County, but I would rather see that in writing, or some way that protects the city. But it was my understanding during the conversation that we had, that's King County's property, that's their HESCO's, that's their barrier.
It is their property. They have more or less have the right to do what they want to on their property.
Correct.
They are also responsible for flood control, and they have to do whatever it takes to protect the property outside of that area.
Correct.
I'm all for that.
Right.
Understanding.
And, you know, and I understand your concern about what happens over there. It would be difficult to take a victim over the wall because of its height.
It's lower over in White River Estates.
It is only 4 feet, yeah,
Right,
that's true.
the kids are getting up on top of it over at the edge of White River Estates at the cul-de-sac, and they're walking it down to the park, and they're jumping into the park. I've seen it. That's how they're getting in. Is there any way, I guess my question would be directed to Ken Luce, is there any way that you can, during this time period when the city has the HESCOs at that height, relinquish our lease so that we have zero responsibility for what goes on inside of the contained area while they need to keep it contained? Because the kids are doing it. I've seen some teenage boys, I've yelled at them, and I get the typical teenage boy response back. But, you know.
Well, it would seem to me that if we got it brought to the attention of King County, and we made them aware of the circumstances and concerns, and that they in turn verbalized in writing back to us that they understood and relieved the city of its responsibility, that would do it.
How do we go about that?
Just have someone from the city contact them and ask them to verify it.
Would that be you?
Probably.
So I think between the two of us.
We can come up with something.
Well, the other thing, just a thought, I don't know if this will help, but if you're seeing teenage boys going over it, and if there's an opportunity for the police to catch them, you know, as far as a trespassing violation or something like that, the word will spread really fast too. You know, as far as there's a citation or there's a penalty, I would think.
I don't know where the park begins. You know where I'm talking about, the cul-de-sac where the last two houses were. They're up on there going through. Now, I don't know where the park starts.
It's really not defined where the parklands are, however, King County owns all that property. So at that point, they are actually trespassing on King County property.
Just
And
by being on top of the Hestos.
yes, and I remember when the houses were there, but King County had purchased them, they had authorized the police department to do whatever was necessary because it was a trespass issue. And I believe King County has signed the HESCO barriers as no trespassing private
So if I
property.
see these kids again, do I call Pacific or do I King County Police?
Because it's actually in our jurisdiction, it would be City of Pacific Police Department, I think, that has to respond.
There's no liability made by the King County, but we're responsible for all the criminal acts that take place on that property.
That's why they need to be made aware of the city's concerns.
Right. I also, FYI, saw a woman in her stroller up on there with her baby in it. That's no joke.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up, because we need to do it.
No, and I appreciate that,
All right, so any other, council comments or reports? Boards and committees, park board?
Hello. Our park board is having a special meeting on the 23rd of this month in the, what do you call that, the conference room back there, to discuss funding, also planning for next year, what we can do, and I'd like to invite 4 of you to come. So whichever 4 of you, it's 4, right?
3.
3. I'd like to invite 3 of you to come, and you can decide among yourselves which 3 want to come.
What day?
It's the 23rd, starts at 9, ends at 1. We offer food at all of our events, as you know.
9 in the morning?
9 in the morning, 9 to 1.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Saturday. And just to add to the conversation about the HESCOs, I've lived by the park 16 years. What those boys are doing is drug dealing, always has been drug dealing, always will be drug dealing back there. Thank you.
Okay. So, Public Works, Jim reported, is there any other comments on the Public Works? No? All right, somebody's here from Civil Service, Planning Commission. All right, Skate Board is next week, I will not be able to attend. If anybody would like to go to my spot, they sure can, from 9 until 11, next Tuesday. Skate Board, South King County Area Transportation Board. Would you like to go?
I got a doctor's appointment next week.
All right, so it won't be attended. Pierce County Regional Council. SBA tomorrow, Griffin, do you have that?
So we meet Thursday night, and then there's a special meeting Friday night.
All right.
We're to vote on the budget. That's the meeting.
All right, good, I'll be there. All right, moving on the agenda, we will now open up